catch my breath.
Get away. For what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today. Why would you? Everyone standing here will tell you I didn't do nothing. I did not sell anything. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me. You want to stop me. Selling cigarettes. I'm minding my business, officer. I'm minding my business. Please, just leave me alone. I told you the last time. Please just leave me alone. Please, please, don't touch me. Do not touch me. I can't breathe. 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 I can't breathe.
I Can Breathe of Pussy Riot, the latest release of this group. First time in English, and we're very pleased to have them here. Please give a big round of applause for Pussy Riot, Masha, Nadia, and Peter.
We don't need these, do we?
Whatever you like. We try to talk in English. Sometimes Peter will translate. Sometimes not. We will see. Is there anything you want to tell us, Nadia?
What?
Is there anything you want to tell us?
Do you have some water?
Yes. Go for it. Go for it. This was, as I said, the first English release. Why is it important to, not only to talk in Russia, to do your kind, in Russian, to your kind of protest? What do you think?
Because protests international thing, probably.
But you didn't that before,
We didn't.
Well, it just happened as a coincidence that when this song was recorded, we were in New York in December 2014, this year. And as we were recording the song and walking out of the studio, there were these huge rallies blocking Brooklyn Bridge and trying to stop traffic in Manhattan, which was dedicated that time to events around Eric Garner. So we recorded a different song
We just
in
tried
addition to the ones
new
that we
language.
already recorded, and in the end, it was this New York and Eric Garner dedicated video.
Okay, and what did you say?
I said that we try to learn new language. And
A new-
sometimes it's possible.
Yeah, right. We can understand you. And I think most of the people know this song and know the video, but some of them don't. You just mentioned Eric Garner.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of a background of this video, please.
So as we found out during last year, United States of America is a very interesting place because, well, first of all, we have this video where its main character is a black man who's shot by police in New York. And also we just listened to Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, speak on a different stage, and we took part in season 3 of House of Cards, which was filmed in Baltimore. And those who watch the news maybe saw that during the last week there were some super heavy riots in Baltimore when the local black community was protesting police brutality and police discrimination of the black population that was happening in the last few years. So this is obviously a very maybe the main issue in the United States now, and since we spent some time in America, we decided to approach this creatively as well.
We have some parallel discussions going on. Is there anything you want to tell us?
I just said that, I don't know, we were just driving at the car and he showed me on iPhone the last words of Eric Garner. That's why this song exists, because it's really about us. About us and about, as I feel, Russian kind of independent protest.
You mean I Can Breathe is a symbol for yourself?
Yes, the lyrics to the song is his last words as he was saying when police was basically killing him.
It's very similar what we feel now.
And you just mentioned House of Cards and Netflix. You played a role and you were, protesting against a fictitious Russian president. You're so totally into pop culture and everyone all over the world knows you. How important is it for you to be famous in terms of, protecting yourself?
Don't look at me. I'm silent today.
You just like you just love pop culture, even if you look like this.
No.
Yes.
Today my role
I think Nadia should
today my
comment
role
about being
is to be a
famous.
silent, shy woman, and don't look at me, don't ask me, and I'm just sitting here and having a baby. And
You have to.
what should a woman
You have to
do else?
Boom.
I think it's goal of women to just be pregnant.
And silent in the corner.
Yes.
Well, actually, we're writing a book now, and it's a Pussy Riot's book, and the beginning of the book has a big, heavy chapter dedicated to feminism, because it's interesting as for example, for people in America, maybe less in Europe, for Pussy Riot, feminism is this sort of way how people see the group, whereas in Russia, this is much of a concept that is really not that well understood.
All right. What you have to know, maybe, that these two people are married to each other. This is why they sometimes have quite a lot of arguing, right?
That happens.
Whatever. That happens. You just mentioned it. It's not only a pop cultural protest, what you're doing. You're not only doing arts and music videos. That is what you have done. But you released this journalistic platform last year. And some people were thinking, wow, what's going on now? They're getting kind of professional. So why did you choose to found this journalistic platform in the first place, Masha?
We are kind of professionals. It's because we want to give our maybe small, but our part to build another Russia as we see it, without all this shit what we see usually. Probably.
And is it easy? I mean, with your background, everybody would think, okay, you've already...
Who cares what everybody think? Come on.
Okay.
So I'm asking, is it easy? I mean, you've experienced this repression. You were in prison and everything. So is it easy to be like independent journalist in Russia?
Well, in fact, in Russia, it's anything you do has to be very creative, because opening a small business or running a media outlet, every time, whatever you do, you have to find creative ways to go around the law and around the problems that authorities put at you. So in this sense, it's a very, if running a media outlet might be a very serious business venture in America or in Europe, in Russia, it can be as well treated as this very creative, artistic project, which we treat it as. So obviously it's difficult, but it's creative, and you find a lot of relief and creativity.
And what types of creativity did you have to do? I mean, have you experienced some kind of repression?
Какие проблемы чувствовали?
Репрессии.
No?
Можно я по-русски скажу?
Yeah, right.
Can I
Go in Russian. Yes, please.
This is very sad to talk in English. Но вообще надо понимать, что журналистика — это одновременно и политика в России, и одновременно еще творчество. И все эти вещи, они триедины, как Бог.
So Russia is unique that in Russia journalism is at it's besides being journalism, it's also
И вообще всё это
arts
вместе.
and politics and creativity, and that's all united in one.
Like God.
Маша, не говорите друг с другом.
Like God.
Like God, like one.
In three,
Yes, because you have three faces of God, and if it's united, it's religion, big religion.
And
if
exists.
it's not, it's just bullshit. And
помолимся.
because I just had an abortion, I can tell you now about pop culture, and I think that you don't have separate between pop culture and punk culture, and if you're real punk and you live nowadays, you have to use pop culture in your own purposes. Because if you are just wear this very nice punk clothes, stockings, like that, but
It's not punk, it's
you are not punk. You punk if you crush everything, your
in yourself.
stereotypes, yourself every day, and it could be very harmful for you, but you have to crush, and if you have to crush and rethink everything, really everything, you have to be with pop culture, like Conchita Wurst did, and I think Conchita Wurst is better punk than whoever on this earth, because she did nice stuff.
Because maybe Conchita Wurst seems as a normal pop culture phenomenon in Europe, but in Russia, she was like, the image of how bad the West has got. Look, they now idolize bearded women. So it's...
Wir haben eine Frau mit Bart, ja, Conchita Wurst. Aber this is what I was asking. I mean, you're talking about pop culture and punk, but then, on the other hand, you released this very serious journalistic platform, which is not punk at all, is it?
You just didn't see our office. You should see it.
We should see
I mean,
your
it's quite punk. And
but your articles are not, right? It's
our...
serious journalism.
А как будет этот футбольный фанат, который пиздил людей, что наш...
Главный редактор. Футбольный фанат.
Ну не то, что он пиздил,
fan.
понимаешь, он принимал участие в сходках футбольных фанатов.
Вероятно.
It's not saying, as basically saying the way things can transform from punk to serious and back to punk. For example, the editor-in-chief of Mediazona, Sergei Smirnov, he's, in our opinion, one of the most talented Russian journalists. But before that, 10 years ago, he was actually a leader one of the leaders in the Russian left-wing part of the Russian soccer hooligan community. And then he turned to being a reporter. He chose his own area, and now he's the editor-in-chief of Mediazona. So just in this way, in Russia, things can transform back and forward.
Sometimes, please excuse me when I'm naive or something, but when I see your background and you've been to prison and you experience a lot of human rights violations on yourself, and then you start to do a serious journalistic platform, I would be frightened to experience the same repression that every journalist, free independent journalist, can experience in Russia. How about you? What happened?
Его предыдущий вопрос противоречит этому вопросу. Потому что мы уже сказали о том, что мы считаем это настолько же панком, поскольку это борьба и с собой, и, собственно, с режимом. Поэтому...
Про боязнь говорит вопрос.
Ну, мы уже признали, что мы панки, значит, мы не боимся. Можешь перевести это?
If this relates to your previous
Логическое
questions,
противоречие.
it's logical. You have a logical problem with your previous question, because if we admit that we're punks, then we don't have a right to be afraid of anything. So it's like this. It's doing serious journalism in Russia has an element of punk, because you have to be fearless to be independent and talk on issues that big reporting networks in Russia can't talk.
Do you feel
Ты
safe?
так заботливо.
Вообще, я недавно осознала, что я люблю кусаться. Я недавно осознала, что я люблю кусать людей.
Тоже хорошо. Надо перевести.
With the question of being safe, Nadia says that recently she found the admission that she sometimes likes biting people.
Как это будет
This is a
по-английски?
biting.
Байтинг?
Biting people, yes.
I don't
И
like
это,
biting.
мне нравится сильный контакт с реальностью, и в этом смысле медиазона, в том числе, она обеспечивает этот сильный контакт с реальностью, такой примерно как покусывание людей, потому что я не могу просто говорить с человеком, это скучно, это неинтересно, это нелюбопытно, надо его кусать.
So Nadia says that she prefers ways of strong contact with reality. In this sense, Mediazona is like very intense contact with reality because you have the chance to approach people and talk to people and communicate with the audience and with society by very intense ways when you report things happening in prison, and this is much better than just living. It's an intense approach.
Yeah?
Do you feel yourself like a psychoanalyst now?
Like a what?
Psychoanalyst.
Psychoanalysis.
Do you feel psychoanalytical
Or-
right
I
now?
know, just
character
asking the
of
naive
Woody
questions. I
Allen
mean, after your background, with your background, I would say, whoa, that's pretty hard and intense to do, this kind of work because you were in prison, and I would be at least a little bit afraid.
Ну, вообще,
You aren't.
вообще так не работает, потому что если бы вы совершили убийство и попали в тюрьму, вы могли бы научиться не совершать убийство и не попадать в тюрьму. А когда вы просто за какие-то танцульки попадаете в тюрьму, то это абсолютно ничему не учит. Ну что, не ходить, что ли, или как?
In Russia, it's very difficult, about being afraid, because if you kill someone and they send you to prison, the goal of the penitentiary system, and you can teach yourself that maybe it's not right to kill people and go to prison. But in Russia, if they send you to prison for dancing, you can't really learn a lesson of being afraid or not being afraid, because you never know what will happen next and what will be the reason of them sending you to prison.
And
Maybe next time you just will drink water and somebody put you in prison because of that. It's not reason to not drink water. It can teach you. It can teach you. So this was unreasonable. I'm not very, original person, but эта идея поместить нас в тюрьму, она была абсолютно алогичной, и она не в состоянии ничему научить.
The idea of sending Pussy Riot to prison that Putin has developed, it was absolutely irrational, and it can't send anyone, it can't make anyone be afraid because you don't really understand the logics and the rationale behind it.
So it's all about arbitrary.
Well, it's about Putin's personal judgment and phobia, and that can't really make anyone afraid.
Да, поэтому ты учишься тому, что можно делать вообще абсолютно что угодно, потому что, если уж тебя за такую фигню могут посадить, какая уже разница?
So when you sort of get accustomed to the idea that you can do anything and you should do anything, because if they can send you to prison for doing something as simple as nothing as dancing in a church or singing in church, then it's just not reasonable to be afraid or to limit yourself in doing something.
One little remark. You have to hear this lesson because sometimes people hear things in different ways. So that's why you are asking about fear and so on. You are thinking in one way, and it's, you have to have вариативность.
You have to vary.
Like.
Петя, можешь рассказать вкратце только недолгую лекцию про тверкинг и про вот эти танцы у мемориала, то, что девочек посадили там?
Nadi's asking me to tell a very big story which happened in...
I asked you to tell shortly.
I'll try to keep it short.
Make a long story short.
Make a long story short. So there was a very big scandal when... does the audience know the dance... I think in English it's called twerk or twerking.
Twerking?
It's a dance that Miley Cyrus did.
Yes.
Yeah? When you move, when you do like very sexual moves with bodily parts. So there was a group of 15-year-old girls far out in Russia that just did this on a concert in their high school in front of their parents, this dance. And this caused a huge national scandal in Russia. And their dance was part, it was basically, so they did, these 15-year-old girls, they did an erotic dance which was part of a Winnie the Pooh play. And this caused, for some reason, national outrage on a political level, with like very high officials saying, going on television saying, this is inappropriate, we have to punish the parents, we have to like really not allow these horrible things happen in Holy Russia.
And they closed musical studio.
And they closed that dancing studio.
All right.
And then a group of girls in a different city decided to advertise their own dancing studio by doing the same dance in front of a Second World War memorial. And they got sent to prison for 15 days. Small terms, but this also caused great outrage, and it was like the center of the scandal when they did it. So, you know, Russia is moved and functions by pretty funny laws these days, and it's very hard to predict what will shoot out and become the next big thing, like this funny erotic dance high school girls did.
Okay, got
Да,
you.
еще в
Now,
Минске второй волны говорили о том, что личное — это политическое, и нужно бояться своих желаний, потому что у нас реально личное стало политическим.
Feminist, the second wave feminists, Nadia's quoting, they were saying that
Simone de Beauvoir.
personal becomes political. And in Russia, you really feel that, and you have to be afraid of your own desires
еще в 8
because
году об этом писала.
personal, with incredible speed, moves to being political.
obviously, it's getting even worse. And if you see the new, regulations about restrictions about press freedom, and you think, wow, what's going on there? Do you yourself, what did they do to you recently?
What?
Is there anything like cyber attacks or trying to keep you down, to keep your mouth shut? Is there anything they doing to you?
You mean to медиазона?
Пытались ли
Ну,
там
DDoS-атаки
кибератаки?
есть
Yeah,
иногда.
right, медиазона.
DDoS-атаки, и плюс еще предупреждение нам Роскомнадзор вынес.
Well, the usual things like DDoS attacks or warnings by the official government media watchdog. These things are so when you don't get beaten up by a iron rod to your head in Russia, you don't really notice that. So these things are, obviously they happen
Можно
often,
про
but we
про
don't
обыск
notice
еще в
them too
открытой России
much.
сказать? Про обыск.
And things like Masha's mentioning, there were stories when Mikhail Khodorkovsky also has an NGO running in Russia, which was recently searched. So people don't really pay that much attention to legal things when there's no physical abuse or assault. Because what we really want to mention are big things like one of the leaders of the Russian political opposition and our friend Boris Nemtsov was shot and killed right across from the Kremlin 2 months ago. And after things like this happen, you sort of stop mentioning DDoS attacks and searches in your office and legal problems because you realize that sort of the fight is different.
Is there any questions? We are a little bit running out of time.
We have a question.
You have questions?
I have a question.
Yes, do you have a question?
It's possible.
Yeah, of course. We have another 2 questions if
What
you
you will
want.
do if your government will kill the main political oppositioner near the White House or near the
Bundeskanzleramt.
building of parliament, or what you will do?
Me, myself?
Yes, if in your country your government will kill your president, or I mean the head of the government will kill the main political oppositioner near the walls of the main political building.
I would catch up with Winnie the Pooh and try to produce a music video or something like this. I mean, this is a question. I'm serious. These
This
are
is
the
a
questions
question.
we don't have to question ourselves, because we don't have to live in this kind of restricted areas. You know
But
what
it's
I'm-
very.
This is why it's so
Это
interesting
очень
to
хрупкая
talk to you.
граница. Скажи, it's very fragile border.
Much think that the border of living in a society like Russian and a democratic society is often very fragile, as we see in the United States.
Another example. Is there any questions? I think we have
Говорю, Господи.
Можно я скажу очень
another
фразу
2
важную?
minutes or something, so maybe 2 or 3 questions. Do you have something to ask to Pussy Riot?
Очень говно, а не агентство.
There's no questions for Pussy Riot in Berlin, Germany. Yes, there is. Over there, please. Wir haben auch ein Mikrofon irgendwo,
wichtig,
glaube ich.
bitte
Das
вопрос.
kommt dann
Bitte
bestimmt.
please.
Einfach mal aufstehen. Please stand up. Then we can see you. Yes.
Он мне не ответил.
Is there a microphone for this guy?
А что он ответил все же?
No. So
Не
just
знаю.
shout out
Видео
very
не
loud,
сделал.
please.
Видео? Конечно.
We don't really hear.
Ничего не слышно. We don't hear you, unfortunately.
Actually, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. Is there no microphone?
You have to come here.
I'm sorry for that. There, over there.
Да он уже идет.
Microphone's coming. So we have one question, and here's the microphone. Thank you.
Можешь сказать, пока они микрофон ищут?
Yeah. You were always talking about your nation and Russia's failures, and suddenly you're doing a video showing solidarity with people in the USA. And I'm asking myself, why suddenly the change from national to international?
We've never been uninternational because at first our name is on English, and it's not Пиздабунт, it's Pussy Riot. Yes, and we just been in US, as much already said, and we are not, persons about plan. We are very stupid girls and boys. We see
We don't-
something and we react. We
React.
just like hamsters.
So one more question, and yes.
I hear a lot about that Russia is controlling the internet even tighter than it did before, and I wonder if I'm in Russia, can I see any of your videos? Can I reach your website? Or does Russia control it in a way that it's impossible
YouTube, you can.
to reach
You-
within Russia? So maybe you can
YouTube.
talk a bit about
YouTube.
what's happening on the web right now in Russia. Can I see the stuff you're doing when I'm in Russia?
Sure.
Yes, fortunately we have YouTube, and you can reach YouTube at first. But if you go to our old social media, which we've done when we just started Pussy Riot, all reports about our actions are closed now because they were closed by court, by decision of court. But
Because it's extremism.
via international platforms, you can see it.
So they blocked down. It's partially blocked. Part of the, for example, the old Pussy Riot actions are blocked by a court decision, but Media Zona and all the actions on YouTube, that hasn't been blocked. So Russia is not like Iran or China, but it's moving in that direction.
Thank you very much
Very
for your questions.
optimistic.
Actually, I'm very sorry we're running out of time. I think there's heaps of questions to you. Maybe we have the chance to talk to you in a more private room just right after this section. Hier geht's weiter mit WhatsApp TV Television from Abroad mit Moritz Pohl. Und ich möchte ganz herzlich Danke sagen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pussy Riot, Nadja, Masha and Peter. That was great.